We're live.
Okay. We're gonna start our town board meeting, explaining where the fire exits are. They're out at both ends of the hall, either side, and there's a defibrillator across the hall for anyone who needs it. Call this town meeting to order. We'll begin with the pledge of allegiance to the flag and a moment of silence for all deceased residents of Hamlin. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Well, town clerk, please do the roll call.
Robot.
Here.
Mail. Here. Voco. Here. Jaeger.
Here.
Buzz.
Here. Public forum, I don't see any in public, but would anybody else like to have public comments that is here? Not seeing anybody, we will close the public forum. Requesting town board resolution to approve the regular town board meeting minutes of January 26, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Robot.
Yes.
Mail.
Yes.
Voco.
Yep.
Jaeger.
Yes.
Buzz.
Yes. Requesting town board resolution to approve the special town board meeting minutes of January 31st, 2022.
I just got a question on that, on resolution 89. Whose motion was made by councilperson and there's no.
Blank. I did put you in.
Okay. I just wanna.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Robot.
Yes.
Mail.
Yes.
Voco. Abstain. Jaeger.
Yes.
Buzz.
Yes. Requesting town board resolution to approve the payment of bills from their respective funds.
So moved.
Second.
Robot.
Yes.
Mail.
Yes.
Voco. Yes. Jaeger.
Yes.
Buzz.
Yes. The supervisor's monthly report acknowledged and filed, which I already gave to our town clerk. Requesting town board resolution for payment of a portion of a Time Warner tax bill in the amount of $1,344.38.
I make a motion.
Why just a portion? It's always been done that way. It's not the town taxes portion. I questioned that before. I'm like, what? Well, we've always done it.
Why don't we pay the other portion?
They pay the county and all the other parts. It's just the town portion that they don't pay.
Right.
I can pull up what I have.
So that's everything we owe. I thought you meant it's a portion of the bill. That's not.
It's a portion of the bill, but it's our portion of the bill.
It's our
It's
town.
our portion of the bill,
Town.
yeah.
They still pay the county
There's
and
a co- yeah,
all the
county.
other
Got it.
districts.
Okay. I thought a portion that we're only paying a portion of our allotted amount. Got it.
I'll second.
I questioned it also.
Yeah.
That's what I was told.
Corbett,
Yes.
Mail,
Yes.
Voco.
Yeah.
Jaeger,
Yes.
Butts.
Yes. Number 10, requesting town board resolution to appropriate funds from the cable special projects account number 7150.44 in the amount of $1,667 to satisfy the match of cash requirement of the municipal agriculture and farmland protection planning grant if the town of Hamlin is awarded such grant. Discussion.
I've got, letters of intent of in-kind services, both from Monroe County Soil and Water, Monroe County Planning and Development, and, the Ag and Life Sciences, and we should be well over what the grant match is. And then this would satisfy what the town's portion of the grant application is.
And we have to send this to them, we have to do a resolution, but if we don't get the grant, we don't pay money.
Yeah, we gotta have a copy of the resolution in the grant application.
I make, motion to Hilton.
Robot,
Yes.
Nail,
Yes.
Poco,
Yes.
Jaeger,
Yes.
Baz.
Yes. Number 11, requesting town board resolution for permission to advertise in the West Side News for a public hearing to be known as the moratorium on and prohibition of large-scale battery energy storage system installation within the town of Hamlin on March 30th, 2022 at 6:30 PM in the town hall at 1658 Lake Road, Hamlin, New York. The whole thing will be in the paper. I am not reading the whole thing. We'll stipulate to the copy that will be in the town clerk's office. Any other discussion? I picked March 30th.
Don't we need a resolution for the public hearing, right?
That's what this is, a resolution to advertise for the public hearing. That we want to hold it on March 30th.
So we need a resolution to hold it? Yeah,
Yeah, you need a
like not
resolution
just to
for,
advertise.
Did I write that wrong then?
yeah, you need a resolution for a public hearing.
Right.
Should I read yours?
No, we need both. We need the advertising.
You need both, but yeah, no, you're fine.
So we need another resolution.
We need another resolution to hold the public hearing on the 30th.
Okay, we'll get through this one first then,
Okay.
since we already read.
I make a motion.
Second.
Robot,
Yes.
Nail,
Yes.
Poco,
Yes.
Jaeger.
Yes.
And I'm going to,
You forgot me.
oh, sorry, Baz.
Yes.
Okay, and then I'll make a motion to hold the public hearing for the moratorium on and prohibition of large-scale battery energy storage system installation within the town of Hamlin on March 30th, 2022 at 6:30.
So moved.
Second.
Robot,
Yes.
Nail,
Yes.
Poco,
Yes.
Jaeger,
Yes.
Baz.
Yes.
Before you do the next one.
Yeah, that's gonna be screwed up too, isn't it?
No, that's all right. We just need to do a resolution, the AT&T has agreed to extend the shot clock on this one.
Oh, okay.
So until March 21st. So we just need a resolution that the town is agreeing to extend the shot clock on the application also until March 21st.
Okay, so we need two resolutions for this one also.
Three.
We're gonna get through this one first. We're gonna be able to advertise it in the paper. All right, requesting town board resolution to advertise in the West Side News for a public hearing on the installation of a 144-foot wireless cell tower located at 100 Moscow Road, Hamlin, New York, at 6:30 PM on March 14, 2022, at Hamlin Town Hall, 1658 Lake Road, Hamlin, New York.
So moved.
Second.
Robot,
Yes.
Nail,
Yes.
Poco,
Yes.
Jaeger,
Yes.
Baz.
Yes. We can combine that we agree
No,
With
make two separate
with
resolutions,
two separate resolutions.
please and thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I'll make a resolution that we hold a public hearing for the installation of 144-foot wireless cell tower for 100 Moscow Road. Public hearing to be on March 14th, 2022 at 6:30 PM.
So moved.
Second.
Robot,
Yes.
Nail,
Yes.
Poco,
Yes.
Jaeger,
Yes.
Baz.
Yes.
What's the other one? Extend
The
the
shot clock,
shot?
shot clock, yeah. Yeah, that's the time frame to approve it. So, yeah, just, we're extending it until March 21st. We're agreeing to the extension.
With AT&T.
Right, with AT&T, yes.
Did I say, if I could make a motion to extend the shot clock
March 21st.
March 21st, 2022.
with 18
With
teams.
AT&T.
For the cell tower on Moscow.
On Moscow Road. Thank you very much.
Second.
Okay.
All right.
Hurlbut,
Yes.
Mel,
Yes.
Boko,
Yes.
Jaeger,
Yes.
Baz.
Yes, this must have just came about today.
Yeah,
This was a rush order, that's why we're a little bit of confusion on this, because things happened and all of a sudden we have to have this meeting very quickly. So things have been going very quickly on it.
So this is the same one that we had a public hearing for,
Yeah, no, 5-6 years ago.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So now they're just.
They abandoned it, now they're starting it back up, yes. We may have another resolution for advertising. Are you ready to advertise for History Council Committee?
Do you need the exact verbiage right now?
I got it written down, I mean, I'm not gonna put a date in there because we will see, you two have to get the date. When you actually wanna put it in the paper, but at least you can advertise to put it in the paper. Requesting town board resolution to approve an advertisement in the West Side News for a period of 2 weeks, looking for volunteers interested in serving on the cultural committee and historical committee.
So moved.
I'll second.
Hurlbut,
Yes.
Mel,
Yes.
Boko.
Yes.
Jaeger,
Yes.
Baz.
Yes,
Can I see a copy of that ad before you submit it?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, both
Just so
you
I
girls
can
can work on
tweak
it or
it.
whatever, and like I said, I didn't tell.
Oh, you have the ad done?
No, I was asking Patty Jo if I could see it or it was submitted.
And you said you have something started?
I don't have anything, the two of them were
Do you
making
want
their.
me to do it and then submit it to you?
Sure.
Yeah, each of you can
Sure.
do.
Or do
your-
you usually create those?
Usually I get it in the past from Eric.
Okay, I'll
So-
submit it. I'll create it and then get it into you.
And Jennifer can submit her portion and get it in, we just combine them, so we got one in. So that's why I didn't put a time frame on this, cause you got two different people working on this,
Yeah.
when they can get it in, and if it isn't this week, it can be next week, it's not a big deal.
I've had some people already ask about the cultural thing, so would like to be part of it.
Yeah, have them feel free to reach out to me. We've got 4 members already. We're looking to still add a couple more and have our first meeting in March.
Highway Superintendent, do you have any resolutions?
Yep, well, I don't have anything put together, but I'd like to ask the consideration of the town board with the recent snows, heavier than normal. This is something that Steve and I looked at years ago, a snow blower for the wheel loader. Last week, I'm not gonna say I got yelled at, but I got an earful by more than a few lakefront residents unhappy with us widening the roads out. It's only gonna get worse. We put the sewers in, you're gonna be able to put a bigger house on the lot with no leach field. And Steve says it's possible you're gonna be able to put houses on lots where they wouldn't fit before. The snow really needs to be loaded out. The only efficient way to do it is with a snow blower. You put about 10 to 30 times on a truck what you would bucketing it in a fraction of the time. But a used snow blower is about $25,000. So I'd like to put it out there to bid. For one, I found 3 of them that are all the same brand and model within, the one that you found was a 2006, right? So it went 2000, so it went from 2000 to 2008. And see what they come back with.
That's Those units are their own power, they have their own
Own
power
power.
unit on it.
You remember the one we used to have? The, the town bought it in the storm of
I was
'77.
gonna say, that's back in the 70s.
And when I came here in 2002, I don't think it had been running a while, and I got it out and we used it a little bit. It worked if the snow was just right, and otherwise it didn't. So when Steve took over, we put it to auction and started looking. We never really found anything. It's kind of one of those things that $25,000 is a lot of money to spend for something that realistically, it's gonna sit in the barn most of the time.
That's right, that's my only concern is it could be 2-3 years that it never gets used.
Yep.
And then you have a year like this year, you might use it once or maybe twice.
Well, that's the tough part. When you need it, you need it.
And I know stuff like that sitting around sometimes is the worst thing for it, but.
Well, you
it's-
have to get them out
Right,
and use them
and run 'em.
at least a little bit and do things around that you can do with them so it's ready when you need it. But that's a
Where would the
concern. I have the money in new equipment because I don't foresee getting the pickup truck what I put in the budget was half of a 10-wheeler and a 1-ton dump truck. The 1-ton I can't even think about ordering until May 6th. Maybe they'll open ordering, which means we're not gonna see it this year. We haven't seen the truck we ordered last year.
So you just need a resolution to go out and do a bid, I think is what you're trying to,
Yep.
which I think is fair. I mean, that's all we're doing, right, we're just allowing you to go out and.
You're allowing them to
Well,
actually purchase it too. I mean,
He's gonna
once we
go
go
out
out to
and bid it.
bids, you can go out to
You're gonna
sealed
pay for it.
bids and. I mean, want to do another resolution once the sealed bids come in, but.
What have we done in years past when there's been heavy snow?
We push it back and we've loaded some out. You know, we loaded a bunch out of the lakefronts in the last 2 storms, but the more people put in their front yards and areas get tight and, you know, the people that called, the bottom line is the roads have to be safe and they have to be wide enough. My thing is to get firefighting equipment down the road. You know, those lakefront roads are 16 to 20 feet wide. And they have to be opened up. And the people understood that. You know, the road that 2 of them were on that complained, your house is towards the end of the road. If there's a fire, do you want the fire truck to get around the corner and down the road or not?
I know in years past, we hauled snow out of the subdivisions too before, way back.
No.
It's probably, that
You
was.
know, on the housing tracks, you go in and you push the snow back about 4 feet and usually you take out a couple phone boxes while you're doing that. And people put things closer to the road, makes it harder to do it. If you don't do it, you're in a situation where people can't see to pull out of their driveways because the banks are so high next to their driveways at the road. And if you don't, you're creating a situation where when you go down the road, you're just carrying all the snow till you get to a driveway. So then it makes it worse on people. Their driveway's getting filled with everything when it comes to an opening. It's a tough thing because, you know, it's like all of our snow equipment. You use it for a certain amount of days a year, but you have to have it. And then it's like our trucks. Realistically, our trucks are, if a cab and chassis is $125,000, certainly the box is some of that you need, but the snow equipment is $60,000 on every truck.
I always believe we should get what we need, especially like the road transportation. That's the thing, it is only used once or twice, but when it does happen, it ends up being an emergency, so I don't
But you never wanna scrap a beef lot.
Yeah,
You got me, I just think
You
that.
know,
yeah.
We still got it.
I know.
And that's not something that like another town has that we can do an agreement to share, cause I know we do that with like the street sweeper.
The only town that the town of Parma has one that they bought in '79, but they work together with the village of Hilton, so when you need it, theirs is being used. The town of Greece has 2 of them, but they're always in use. And I don't think anybody else does. So it's not something you can go and borrow, and it's not something you can rent.
Have you talked with Kendall, or are they having the same issues?
They don't have the subdivisions, and they don't do, if you drive around to some of these towns, they just don't do it. They're okay, you drive around, the roads are tight, and
Well, a lot of their lakefront is a private,
it's privately plowed on the lakefronts.
theirs is more private right.
We're not really in the same situation, and the more built up we get, the more it kind of
The
makes it necessary.
snow blowers you're looking at would fit on our payloader, or would it have to be on refab to make it
No,
fit that?
no. If anything, it would be us putting, excuse me, new coupler blanks on it. But I think the one that I found, I think is already couplered for our machine, but it's hard to say because it came off a Komatsu. Komatsu has a coupler manufacturer. It's pretty close to the same thing as a JRB. We have Hyundais, ours are very similar to a JRB, so does it pin up? Hopefully. If not, it's a matter of unbolting the whole thing and building a new adapter plate. You know. And other than that, the only thing that goes to the loader is the control cable.
Did you get any other prices?
The one that you found, they didn't get back to me.
It was listed for $24,900.
I'm sorry. Yes, the one that you found is the same price, and the other one that didn't have a price, they didn't get back to me.
Are these like prices that are all kind of jacked up due to the times, like will it be cheaper next year?
No, that snow blower, I did call the dealer for them. That snow blower today to buy it is about $160,000. They don't hold their value because there's not a lot of people looking for them. So the one that I'm looking at is a 2008. It's got 230 hours on it, and they lost $100 and some thousand on the thing.
Where is it, Mike?
That one's in Maine at a dealer that is, that's all he deals in is surplus municipal snow removal equipment. Plows, wings, salters, all-wheel drive trucks, snow blowers, everything snow removal related.
How many years would it last us?
Forever. We wouldn't have gotten rid of it. We would still have the other one if they had bought a 2-stage snow blower when they did. But they bought what was available because it was a Blizzard of '77.
It was a single stage. It didn't throw. We spent more time unplugging the chute than we ever did throwing snow. This is actually a 2-stage.
Should you build into that resolution, it's gonna cost you something to truck it here?
No, I think us going to get it, because we would need to go and inspect it. I think what I would do is accept the sealed bids on it. If they're the low bidder, go up there, inspect it. If it is what they say it is, bring it home with us.
But I don't know, should we even ask for a price in this or just ask to go out to bid? Or
Me?
should we ask for a price in this and when we do a resolution, or just a resolution and you go out to bid,
But you gotta give him a top line of what
the top line.
he's gonna spend, yeah.
25,000.
I'll make a motion that we allow Mike to, highway superintendent to put out the bid for a snow blower that'll fit our wheel loader, not to exceed $25,000.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mal,
Yes.
Poco, Jaeger,
Yeah.
Haas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Nothing to report.
Okay, then let's go into reports. Joel.
Okay, well, it's, under the dog shelter first, we had 25 calls this month. We currently have no dogs in the shelter right now, but we just received a large donation from Pet Friendly for our food bank, so I think that's pretty great. So I'll go to the library, which they're continuing, well, they're actually they're doing the thing with us for the recyclable plastic that Patty Joe has put out. They put a big bin over there, and they've already received, I guess, a lot of, it's remarkable how many pounds they've already have for the library, but, they're also gonna set up they're collecting, food items for Life Solutions, they're doing a little bit more, I would consider, like human service stuff at the library, using it as a community, place. Right now, they're still, well, at least as of the last meeting I went to, they still have to wear masks at the library until they receive information from the library systems, if they're allowed to, give up that. No requirement for now, but they have to follow what the county has or what the library system has. So our people count for that month was about 1,200, which is still a lot of people coming to the library. People still use it quite a bit. And that's about it. I've been using, we're trying to, well, as you know, they put the books on tape, so they got the new machine, so they can set that up, so people can, we don't have to buy the discs anymore, they can just refurbish them, so they save a lot of money doing that. But that's about it.
What happened to that one dog at the shelter that was having a hard time getting a doctor and he adopted out?
He was adopted.
And he's very happy, I heard.
Yeah.
The owner and the dog, very happy.
We had one dog fight recently who large pizza delivery. Got that. So that's where that's going, yeah. We haven't had a lot of dog fights, we had one. Oh, yeah.
Are we gonna be able to bring our Facebook page back online for the dog shelter?
It's already started again tonight.
Is it?
Yeah. We had to take it down because this covered some of the things to the press and stuff. Right. You can't comment. I don't think they do this tonight. You just can't make comments anymore. We got pretty active. I'm not satisfied personally.
Did it? All right, Councilperson Volker.
Zoning Board of Appeals, there was, one agenda item, there was a public hearing that the residents couldn't come to, so it was, opened and left on continuation for this month. And then there was one agenda item for a coastal erosion hazard area permit for a whole house generator down on West Potomac Beach Road, and that was approved. And they nominated Rocky as vice chair for 2022. Chamber of Commerce, they're gonna be having their board of directors meeting this week, Wednesday. I can't can't remember if I've already reported on this at the last meeting. Anki and I went to one of the meetings there at the chamber, which was really beneficial. We're really just trying to get Hamlin a little more involved in the chamber and get some Hamlin businesses to represent in the chamber. But the chamber really hasn't had any activity for 2 years, so they're just really ramping up. So they do want to host their May meeting here in Hamlin. We haven't picked a location yet. They want somewhere that has big enough for like they want to take up a whole restaurant, like we were talking about Farmer's Table possibly, but they would take up pretty much like the whole restaurant if they went there. So, I don't know, we talked about the library or some of the other restaurants around town, but that'll be in May. The meeting will be here in Hamlin. And I did go to, there's also, in addition to the chamber, there's a Hilton networking group. They meet every month and they're currently just Hilton businesses, but they'd be more than happy to open it up to Hamlin. And even the chamber is saying they might, want to change their name from Hamlin, Hilton, Parma Chamber to like, the Northwest Quadrant Chamber to kind of open it up to people who might be on the fringe of one of those municipalities so that they are still welcome into the group. So this Hilton networking group is kind of interesting. They're a bunch of Hilton businesses that they meet once a month. They are kind of like they're opening up for business coaches for businesses. And they all kind of refer to each other. So I have a list here, which is kind of cool. It's comprehensive of people who belong and what their occupation is. So each business, like if they hear of someone who needs one of these services, they always refer their clients to these other people. So it really is a great networking tool. And then there's a whole list of other services that they're looking for, like someone who's a baker, baking, catering, florist. So I thought Colleen, she's a florist, like maybe she's interested in this. So I can pass this around and you guys can see the kind of groups of occupations that they're looking for. And if you know anybody that you'd like to recommend to the networking group doesn't have like an annual fee like the chamber does. So they're kind of like they're separate, but they work together. Some of the networking members are chamber members, some are not. But I think it's just another avenue for businesses to promote each other, which is great. So that's that. I did meet with Dave. We had a meeting about the History Center and, kind of like what his goals were for the History Committee. We bounced around a bunch of ideas. We put together a little something for the ad. And we we're thinking there's a grant available for historic markers. So the one that's currently at the History Center is like a general Hamlin one that I think was moved from Tops, maybe, to the History Center when Tops came in, possibly.
I think we found that one somewhere, and it was broken, and we welded it and painted it.
Yeah.
And put it over there, but I don't even remember where we found it. We found it in a barn or somewhere.
I thought it was on 260. Was that the one on East Fork? Or the one over in 260 someplace? Might have been. I thought it was along the road we found it. In the dirt and everything. It took us a while to clean it up. It was in the dirt and all
When we were
that.
ditching.
Yeah, something like that.
No.
So that sign is at the History Center, but there's grants available for historical roadside markers. So we thought we would apply for one for the North Star School and actually have that in front of the school. It makes a little more sense. And maybe move this one somewhere, the other one that's there now, the General Hamlin marker up here somewhere, maybe Town Hall, or I don't know. Anyone has any thoughts on it?
I don't even know what that one says over there anymore.
It just says Hamlin, named after Vice President.
Sort of like the one that's on our building here, maybe?
I
I
think
actually
so.
just noticed that one walking in tonight. I was like, has that always been there? Never saw it before.
Where are you talking about putting that?
I don't know, maybe somewhere here on 19. front of the town hall, I don't know, not the library.
To the library.
In
I
front of
just-
the library?
Yeah, I wouldn't put it in front of the history center. Too many cars, they keep that sign for the place, I don't know how many times and everything. Too many cars go up
Wait,
there,
you
so-
wouldn't put which one at the history center?
I wouldn't put a sign in by that building at the history center.
No, just replace the one that's there.
Right, but that's over by the driveway at least, right? The one that's over by the driveway.
Yeah, it's between the history center driveway and the
Yeah, so
cobblestone
just-
barn.
Take that
Do-
one out and put the one about the history,
Okay.
the school there, you know?
That's fine. I can see the ones we put out anything in front of the building get smacked.
Yeah, no, just exactly where the one is now, take that one out, replace it with one that has something, you know, says this is North, a little history about the school,
Okay.
and then we'll have the other one that's just general Hamlin information. I don't know where that one could go then.
That's the oldest home in Hamlin.
Say put it in front of the library.
So maybe library, I mean, I don't know. We'll see if we can get money for
Right.
that one, but.
Across the bridge from the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can try to apply for a grant.
Okay, Dave was gonna start looking at that. That's it, I mean, his goals for the, history committee are just to maybe help catalog some of the donations, he's got so many, he was saying he could use some help doing that. Transcribing old letters that he has into a book. He'd like to involve schools and maybe the Hamlin seniors, I don't think they've done anything, like a trip there, an informational meeting in a long time, forever, I don't know. Maybe eventually like get some presentations going there, you know, every so often, once a quarter or something, some informational meetings.
Okay.
If I can make a suggestion for that while I'm thinking about it. What Kendall did, it's probably 10, 15 years ago. They got a group, I think it was actually started out as a high school project, but they got a group of old timers of the town together. And they basically went around a circle and interviewed them of their recollection of the history of the town as it was, you know, like when the CCC camp came and made a video of it. And, you know, when you say working with the seniors, maybe see if there's anybody in town that would be willing to put their stories on a video tape. It was pretty interesting to listen to, I know, and that was done years ago.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
No, that's a great idea, because once the seniors are gone, so go all those stories and all their
Right.
recollections. We also talked about doing like an agricultural history of Hamlin, or maybe like, you know, shipwrecks on Lake Ontario, just a couple different topics of interest. Is that it?
Okay. Council personnel.
We had the Hilton Parma Fire meeting. They are all set up. They did their, advertisement for their public hearing for the volunteer exemption for the 10%. Their public meeting will be held on the 17th. And then they should
This
be all
month?
set in their fire district. It was in last week's West Side News. For ambulance, they had 77 calls in January. Year to date, they've had 123 calls. Year to date, they've had 138 calls for the nursing program. Unfortunately, 48% of those were kicked back for an ambulance to respond on location. However, countywide, they consider that a success. So they'll keep that in place and see how it goes in the future. I need to check the change of time with Adam, but we will be meeting with the ambulance on February 26th, kind of a meet and greet and chat about what their goals and challenges are for year 2022 and see how all that plays out. Jackie Smith is setting up a Veterans Services program for the West Side. It's a collaboration between Sweden, Clarkson, and Hamlin. What we'll be doing is kind of coming together, talking about veterans on the West Side, approaching Veterans Services to see if we can get a representative out here, like Hamlin 1 month for half a day, Clarkson 1 month for half a day, Sweden, and then kind of rotate through that. So hopefully we can get some veteran services a little bit closer than having to run down to Westfall Road. And then we got the trees ordered for conservation. That's it.
Council Person Hurlwa.
Yep. Hamlin Morton Walker Fire District, they asked me about the tax exemption, and we talked about that at the last meeting. I've informed them that when our public hearing is. They also are gonna have a public hearing at the Hamlin Station, February 21st at 6:30. That's all I got from them. Planning Board meeting. There's a public hearing for 251 Lake Road West Fork for a special use permit to add a single apartment onto a family dwelling. That was approved. There was a conservation corridor permit for West Watoma Beach. They did not show up. The Sandy Creek Marina, Vincent Revitelli was there, did the commercial site plan application, and he addressed a lot of concerns that the planning board had, and they have scheduled a public hearing for him next month on March 7th for that proposal. Then there's preliminary site plan for PEM LLC, which is Quickly's, and they're proposing a convenience store gas station here on the corner where the old Bob's Grocery is. It'll be a merger of 1722 and 1730 Lake Road properties. They scheduled a public hearing, a preliminary and final approval for next month's meeting, and they also need DOT approval for the ingress and egress. Hopefully they'll have that, and if everything's lined up for next month, that should be approved. Then there was a application for subdivision of land for property split of one parcel into two parcels for 307 Drake Road. And that needs to go in front of the zoning board first for a variance because they're gonna reduce the road frontage to 60 feet. So that's pending on the zoning board variance. And they also scheduled a public hearing for that for April 4th. And that's all from the planning board. I filled you in pretty much on the farm protection plan. We've got the application, I'd say 95% complete, pending a meeting with the ag board on the county, which is the 24th. So hopefully by the 1st of March, we'll have our application in. And I don't see a problem. They're gonna award that April 1st. So that's coming along. And the town court, they got a grant to cover the furnace and gas line install. And thanks to Michelle, if you wanted to expand on that or had any comments, it's up to you.
No comment.
That's all I got.
Okay. Highway Superintendent, Mike German.
We really have nothing new to report than maintaining roads. We do have an employee moved from part-time to full-time after full-time employee retired after how many years? 33, 34,
Chucky?
you know,
35, 36.
35, 36. Well, this year, the only thing coming up this year's Advocacy Day is going to be virtual again. So I'll let you know what the dates are. Maybe you want to sit in on that. That's all I have.
It's never as good as being down there and seeing 600 superintendents in orange on the steps down there in Albany. They pay a lot more attention to you then.
They're asking. I'll have to get you that packet. They're asking for quite a bit above and beyond. I'll have to get you that paperwork so you can see it. That's
All
it.
right, building inspector.
Okay, the department issued 26 permits in the past month. We brought in over $2,500 and the permit valuation went up over 1.2 million, so that's a good thing. But mainly because of Creekside of Hamlin, the old Harper Park, they put in like almost 40 new homes. So it's really, it helps a lot. 35 permits have been closed, 126 phone calls into the office. Sometimes I only have 2 or 3 a day at this time of year. I sent out 6 violation notices. I had this on last month. I registered for the Flaboa Annual Educational Conference, but still not sure we're going to have it. They did come out with webinars that everybody could take in their offices from January to June. So I did sign up for 20 credit classes anyway, just to get it under my belt. And that's about it. Everything's going pretty well. People still want to build a lot of pole barns for all their stuff.
Hide their stuff.
Yes, hide their stuff. Okay, that's it for me.
Our attorney, do you have anything?
No.
Okay. Recreation director, Aki, do you have anything?
I do. We opened up for the first time after 2 years of closure our preschool play group, which is on Tuesdays. And it was really nice to see so many people. On the first time we opened it, we had 10 kids representing 4 households. Last week we had 15 kids representing 8 households. And it was so busy, I'm thinking maybe we should do it another day. I'm going to see how many we've got tomorrow. But it was nice. It was nice after all this time seeing people and the kids in the gym again. And especially because before COVID hit, the numbers were really slow. We would get 3 maybe on a Tuesday and be really excited. Wow, 3. So now seeing all these little kids, and a lot of these families have recently moved to Hamlin in the last 2 years, so that's also a good thing. And they're registering also for the sports. I see the small teams, tiny tot soccer, tiny T-balls are filling up fast. The older kids, it's dribbling in slowly. But the younger kids, we're doing good. We're doing good.
What time is the play group?
The play group is from 10:30 to 12:30 on Tuesdays. Yeah. We started a new series of classes this year with Diana in the kitchen, since we had a lot of requests from kids who wanted to cook with Diana. Since when we stopped the food program, we also stopped whatever cooking activities. So we created a separate after-school activity utilizing the bus that comes down there anyway, bringing the kids to the after-school program. So basically parents can sign up their kids for these cooking classes on Mondays and Fridays and basically just get them on the kids' space bus and drops them off, and they do their little class with Diana. And they're making snacks and learn how to make snacks at home out of simple stuff, and they all seem to like it. So we just finished a 6-week session, and the parents are asking for us to do it again. So we're going to start another one in April. And because this group is only for really little kids up until 6th grade, we had requests from moms with older kids who also wanted to learn how to cook. So now we're doing a once-a-month class on a Saturday where they basically get together, cook a 3-meal course, a dinner, and then 2 members of their family can come at the end of the class and help eat what they're cooking. And we had our first one On Saturday, they did a Valentine's Day meal. Everybody was really excited. They really loved it. Diana said it didn't turn out that great. It was a bit watery, but they loved it anyway. And so we got another one scheduled. So this seems to be something new that people like to do. And like I said, after these 2 years of closure, finally seeing people come out and doing stuff it's a really nice thing. Lastly, the numbers for winter break camp coming up next week are also high. We're pretty much almost at capacity, which I think bodes really well for the summer camp in the summer. So I'm going to be looking to get adequate staffing together by April to make sure we're covered for the summer. And that's it.
Okay. Does our clerk have anything you want to say? Questions you asked? I see you came in.
I do not.
Okay.
I'm just supervising this evening.
Now I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble.
You're gonna tell the judges on us.
I got a couple of things I talked to Steve about. We have our final draft of the history book. Yeah, it took a while because he's switching from an old program to a new program, and that takes a lot of work and everything. So we need to have about 3 people proof this one, make sure it's all good, and then we can go to print with that. I got a letter from the Board of Elections. They sent out a agreement for doing the primary and the general election on the 2 dates. The town clerks are not involved in doing all this setup anymore. So I assume we want to have voting here at the town hall.
Yes.
So we'll have to fill this out and turn that in. So I hope the other locations got their letter and we'll do the same.
Okay.
And taxes are going good. We've collected $6.25 million out of the $7,116,000. So it's right on schedule, maybe a little bit better compared to last year. So that's it.
I know it started off slow, but it's been a mad rush these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, been here a lot.
Yeah. Well, from our last meeting, we did check into, like, our superintendent asked about no dumping laws. We do have a law in the books for that, but it's more of a junk law, we call it. Junk and trash or whatever laws, but it did cover everything that he wanted, so we really don't need to get a no dumping law. We had something in the book that covers brush, leaves, regular garbage and everything, so we have that, we've been made aware of that, so if there is any trouble, we can take that law to the judges or the police, and we can have it taken care of. I've been asked about having mobile food boxes or blessing boxes around town, I guess around other places, where we would have, like, maybe here by the building, instead of having to go to Life Solutions, you would come to a box that we fill up with non-perishable food constantly, so people don't feel embarrassed to go to, people in need may feel embarrassed. And if they have to go in front of a bunch of people there at Life Solutions.
It would be to drop food off or pick food up?
It was for people to pick food up, but it would just be boxes that were left, so they come anytime, 24 hours a day and get, well, we would have to keep it stocked, or the church would have to keep it stocked.
Would people be able to drop food off too if they wanted to?
I don't know if we'd want to do that, because then what would happen if,
Right.
it was bad food or something, or they tampered
But
with it or
if
something.
they have access to it, how do you know?
This is why I really am not in favor of it. I was asked, so I'm bringing it up to the board. Same questions I would have also, if somebody tampered with it, with the food in there.
I mean, I see like the books, you know, how they have the books out there where you can give and take, but.
And I think if someone called Life Solutions and, you know, expressed their concerns to one person on the phone, they would probably make a reasonable accommodation for them where they could come in at like super early or late in the day, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would hope so. I mean, Life Solutions has been good for our town. They've done a lot of good
Yes.
for a lot of families. And
Yeah.
I really appreciate them in our town.
I think Food Links once a month too, and that's drive-through, so you don't even have to get out of the car or anything. They do it at the Brockport High School. I know I'm pretty sure they've done it in the town parking lot
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, oh yeah, we have a routine one, like every,
Yeah, they used to do it every fourth Saturday. I haven't seen that.
No,
lately,
cause
though.
it's been at the high school.
But you're right, the food and truck used to come out here every fourth Saturday. I was just bringing it up because I was asked, so I said, well, we'll bring it up and discuss it. I did talk about, I'll say that somebody worrying about the fire departments. And that's a fire department or a fire person may just join to get the tax break. But I also talked to the fire department. I mean, they've actually got to be an active fireman for 2 years before they can even be an active fire. They also need 6 months of training before they can even fight a fire or whatever. And they need training for weeks every year
yeah,
to
so many
stay
mandatory hours.
so many mandatory hours. So I don't think that is an issue with our fire department. I
mean,
believe
that's the
that,
whole point of the tax exemption, is to be able to recruit,
to encourage people.
to encourage
Yeah.
people to join. That's,
Right.
that's the intent of the law.
right, but like, you know, I was asked, so I'm bringing it up before the board. And I've been on the phone with a bunch of, just on the phone with the supervisors of the towns today, and Zoom meeting, I'm sorry. With the governor came out with some inner budget, and everybody is concerned. I sent it to our code enforcement, because she wants to make it so you can have low-income housing with every property without any care of whether the sewers could handle it, whether the school district could handle it, whether water service could handle it, or whether there's any parking there for the people. She just wants affordable housing. And if you have a house there, you can put another house there without hardly any questions. She wants to take it's like the state wants to take away our right for zoning laws. So the supervisors are all really upset, because who's gonna pay for the infrastructure for bigger sewers, more water lines, parking, school districts, if all of a sudden you have, who's gonna pay to build more schools or hire more teachers? And so we're gonna have another meeting, maybe a get together and a thing with a paper and everything, and send a notice to the governor. I've been working on the lakefront. It's getting delayed a little bit, maybe not, maybe by like a couple of weeks, hopefully that's all. We're trying to get the ready grant to give us, everything's done, but we're trying to get them to sign off on the 100%. They gotta sign off before we can actually go out to bid. Ready does. And I think Parma's just a little bit ahead of us with that, but we're hoping they do it at the same time that they do Parma's do us together.
So that's really all we're waiting for, is for that.
We're waiting for the ready commission to look everything over and say, yep, it all looks good.
And then we can send it out for
And
bid.
then we can go out to bid. It may not be, we thought it was gonna be this month, it probably won't be this month anymore, it's already getting later on. So we're hoping it's gonna be in early March, hopefully, early to mid. But with all the snow in the ground, it's not like we're gonna probably start anytime soon, but I wanna get it rolling in case you have trouble getting supplies, the pipe or whatever. Our assessor, we've been working with our temporary assessor, he's doing a fine job. Last Wednesday he was pulling his hair out, but a lot of people have taken advantage of coming in here on Wednesday, and a lot of questions, and with veterans benefits and everything, it's a lot of work to do that. But we're gonna have our rolls done, so no applications have been sent in to date. hopefully we start getting a few. If it goes a few days over the 28th, I'll probably still accept them. If we get them in here and they're in a sealed envelope and stuff, and the more that we have to pick from, probably the better. And that's about it for that, for reports, but if anybody wants to do discussions?
We're gonna interview Conservation Board Wednesday night.
Yes.
At 6:30.
6:30 and 6:50, yes. Both of them are gonna be this Wednesday. And the Conservation Board member will be there too. Steve, yes.
How's it gonna work for the other public hearing for the 10% tax exemption for volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers on the 23rd?
Yes.
How is the assessor, does he have to get all that paperwork in by March 1st? So if we don't form the law until,
Law has to be done by March 1st.
so the law has to be done by March 1st, but isn't the roll due March 1st?
No.
No, you can do it, give an extension on that.
He can, okay. So I was like, that doesn't give him.
When I looked on
A
the
lot of time.
assessor's New York State page, the application for Monroe County wasn't even up on
Yeah,
their
I
site
noticed
yet,
that.
so. There's that.
And Monroe County just passed theirs last week. They just voted on it. Jackie Smith just told us at the dinner the other night that they just passed theirs last week, so
And then,
they're not much in front of us.
the fire district is like 99% done with their list of,
Oh, they are good, okay.
active enrolled or. So they'll be there next week, they figure out it.
Well, good.
To
I'm
give
glad
to the
they're
assessor.
like a step ahead because
Yeah, they're not dragging their feet in. They know every.
No, I got one more. No, we've been getting a lot of phone calls about the lake friends. So I've been on the phone a lot too with JP and every other thing about the tax and half EDUs and everything down there. I looked at with our assessor, I've been working with the assessor, we've never done this in the town of Hamlin history before, except for farm property, which we have no say over, it's ag and markets, as far as giving half an EDU to vacant land. I can see that if we do it at the lake fronts, I can see that would be trouble with people that have already paid half EDUs. I don't wanna set a precedence either, we haven't set precedents now. I don't wanna do it down there and change it, because people are saying, well, why'd you do it down there and not, I'm paying a full EDU for my water line or whatever, why did you give them half an EDU down in the lake fronts? JP and MRB, it's all figured up on the parcels. When we did this, everything was figured up, the tax roll and everything
Was split
between all the parcels. We would have to go back and change a whole bunch of things down there to change the figures.
Go back to the beginning.
Yeah, we'd have to go out to bid and everything again. We'd have to start public hearings and everything again, because from what I'm being told by them, that if you change this, you're gonna go through a whole new public hearings, everything like that. And they asked me, do you really wanna do that for $60-some a year?
Where did they get the idea that they were gonna do half EDUs on the?
He did say that, it was on to JP, maybe he didn't know, he said it, our engineer, or, he did say that on the Zoom meetings or whatever it was.
So that's my question for you, Maureen, legally, so it's a public hearing for the Lake Shore Sewer District.
Wasn't in the resolution. Just because it's a public hearing, so you're just listening to the public and hearing whatever was in the resolution is in the resolution. You can't change it now. Everything is based on those EDUs, the grant, all that other stuff. If you want to change it, you got to go back. The one thing you can change is if you don't have a grinder pump, you don't have to pay the maintenance and upkeep charge. where everyone who has a grinder pump is going to be paying $32, $35 a year extra in there to go into that maintenance fund.
Yeah, it was something like that. And
So until you get your actual grinder pump, you will not be putting that, you won't have that charge.
So for people who say, well, we were told we were gonna pay half an EDU for vacant lots.
But remember, JP is not, while he was representing the town, he's not a town board member. They should have been at the public hearing on the resolution when those things were done.
Would it say in a resolution that vacant lots are, is that ever stated in a resolution for anything?
I thought it read that I thought the way it was worded is that it's split between however many parcels.
Yeah, that's how what an EDU is calculated on, and that's how they calculated it. I didn't do the numbers, but that's how it was calculated.
So for someone who makes the argument, because I've heard this, that we were told half an EDU for vacant property, we could have pushed it to a permissive referendum had we been given information that was accurate, and we weren't given that opportunity because we were told one thing and then it changed to another thing.
How much money do they want to spend on an attorney to file an Article 78? It's $75 a year to have these sewers. Not only that, it now makes the price of the value of their vacant land go up because it's now got sewers on it, and you can put a house on it where you couldn't have before. And if they've got several vacant lots that are all touching together, they're all contiguous, make it one lot. That takes away the 3, and it only makes 1. I mean, if they want to spend the money on an attorney to fight it, they certainly can bring a lawsuit, but how much money do they want to spend to save, equal out to be $7,000 that they pay over the 30 years or something? They'll pay more of that in attorney fees.
And our assessor also told me that they can come into him and debate on their assessment also.
Mm-hmm.
The assessor also said that you can't lower this. He said it's set in stone now, you can't lower it. But he said if they want to come in and see him about their assessment, he said they can come in and talk to me, and maybe, I'm not gonna promise that he can, he said maybe he can do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
He might not be able to on some of the parcels, because some of the vacant land is big enough to put houses and stuff on, or, now with sewers going in, but maybe some of them are not. So he said maybe he can do something.
Yeah, I had someone who called me and said, I have 4 vacant lots, 3 of them are underwater. Why am I paying, how am I gonna put any property, why am I paying 3 vacant lots of sewer charge when?
Are they right next to each other?
I think so.
Then they can combine them into one lot. Why do they have 3 vacant?
So when they combine them though, how's that gonna affect everything? Cause now all the numbers are gonna change then anyway, right?
The numbers would change then, yes, it would have to get spread out.
That's the legal way of changing the numbers.
It would get spread
Mhm.
across to the other people then, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just like when we do water lines or anything, when they combine,
Mhm.
or if somebody builds a house on a water line that wasn't there before, everybody's drops because all of a sudden that person starts paying, so then everybody's taxes drop. Where same thing down there, if somebody wants to build where the sewer is across and on a vacant land, then everybody's prices will drop because somebody just built another house and is paying a bigger share. I know, I've been getting phone calls also, so I've been trying to work on this.
Mark?
Well, does the town board, Art, is the town board set with this before?
Phil is.
Yeah, I'm good.
I personally believe that we should be doing the same across the board in all of Hamlin. We shouldn't, if
Yeah,
sewer
all the
districts have
districts.
gone in other areas and they're not half EDUs, why would this sewer district go in be any different than any other sewer district in Hamlin?
Yeah, it opens Pandora's box.
I disagree. I think that if the message was relayed to everyone that you're gonna pay half an EDU for all these vacant properties, and then when the rubber meets the road and you get a tax bill and it's changed, I think that's not being transparent.
Right now, there's not an awful lot we can do, because it's also in the bond resolution. Bond resolution been set, I checked on the bond resolution and everything, and like I say, barring that somebody builds or somebody combines, there's not an awful lot we can do right now, it's set in stone. But I wanted to get that out to the public also, that is, I've been checking on it, and all right, now Phil.
Just have one thing to say for the first time. It would be, if there were 3 contiguous lots, 3 and 4 on the other side of the street, it'd be very easy to merge them into one. It's just considering erasing a line. They wanted to find a way to get around. It'd be easy to merge property together. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
That should have been clarified at the public hearing or a question brought up.
It probably should have been clarified better, but it wasn't, and like I say, but it was the town, everything's set, and so, I mean, the bond resolution, everything's been set legally right now, there isn't much we can do about it, New York State it's all with the state and everything.
So the bond resolution states, just so I'm clear, per parcel, what the charge is in the bond resolution?
I can't, actually, I don't have it in front of me, so I can't tell you exactly what it says. I know that the number is set at 75 something a parcel.
It didn't have it set at how much per parcel in the bond resolution.
No, yeah.
It just said that everything would be spread across the lakefront, the parcels down there, and if it was not that, if the town did not pay, if the lakefront did not pay the bond off, that then that bond would go to the whole rest of the town, we'd have to increase taxes up here on everybody's property to make sure that bond was paid off.
Well, I don't think it's a question of the bond not being paid off, but the people on the lakefront, it would just be a little re-divvying up. So changing those figures, that came out of the assessor's office, right? Is that where that came from, the 75? Where does that number?
No.
Who created that number?
MRB created with everything, with all the documents and everything, the facts and figures and everything. It did not come from us.
And then MRB submits it to the assessor?
Yes, for the taxes, yes.
Right.
Our assessor did nothing as far as
Right, no.
coming up with these figures. It's all done out, and they just send us the payment schedule. All right.
Barring no further discussion, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?